What's going on YouTube? Today we got a different video for you. Today I'm going to show you how to prepare your vehicle for sale. I'm going to show you some do's and don'ts and some how-tos. So stay tuned because we're starting right now. And this is the vehicle that we're going to be preparing for sale. I went ahead and put Birdman where the tag is. That's my nickname from high school because of skateboarding. Tony Hawk was Birdman, so some of my friends would call me that. We'll zoom out here so you guys can see the whole thing. Many of you have seen this vehicle many times already, but this is what we're working with. So we're going to kind of do a step-by-step on how to prepare your vehicle for sale. Alright, step one. Get inside your vehicle and remove all of your stuff. Many of you who have been watching videos on the channel for quite some time have never ever seen my van in this current state, which is with the third row seat up. You can even see the imprints of the headrests in the seat cushion because it's been sitting down there for so long. So anyways, first thing you want to do, get in the back area, whether you have a trunk or a rear hatch, and you want to remove all of your stuff. Then you want to do the same thing in other areas of the vehicle. So for this vehicle, for example, I've gone ahead and removed everything from both sides of the stow and go. And then you also want to get into the glove box and make sure that you really only leave stuff that is, you know, with the vehicle, basically, the owner's manual and all that good stuff. Then if you got a center console, you'll want to clean that out as well. Take all your stuff out of it. And any other storage compartments. Don't forget your sun visors. You may have stuff up in there as well. So that is the end of step one, is to remove all of your personal belongings. Next thing you want to do, which I have done a good portion of already, is come in and vacuum out the vehicle. Make sure that there's not a bunch of crap in the carpet. That includes the trunk, the front seat, the back seat, the third row, the whole 9 yards. Make sure you vacuum it up pretty well, and even get under areas like that. Make sure you're doing a good job on the vacuum. It's actually part of the reason I chose to make this video is because many people do not even bother to vacuum the vehicle when they post it for sale. Kind of a shame. They're leaving a lot of money on the table. So the only parts of the vehicle that I have not vacuumed yet is the front seats. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. This one's not horrible, but there are a few things that kind of need to be vacuumed up, as you can see. And then of course the driver's side needs to be vacuumed out as well, and the ashtray. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. There's the front done. Looks presentable. And here's the other side done. Decent enough. The next thing we want to do is take some sort of cleaner like Windex and a rag and go around on all of your hard plastic body panels like this, everywhere like that kind of stuff. Maybe even the dash too, depending on what type of material it's made of. But you definitely want to wipe down everything on the interior, the panels, the seats, the door sills, all of that kind of stuff. These type of areas here, you want to wipe all of that kind of stuff down. The underside of the dash, this area where people's feet get, the sides of the seats, the inners of the door closing. You want to wipe all of that stuff down with some sort of cleaner. Obviously, do your due diligence and make sure that you're not putting something on there that's going to damage it. But otherwise, we want to wipe down the whole interior as good as we possibly can. And mainly, we're looking to remove stuff like that, stuff that looks horribly bad. We want to get any grease stains like this, all of that kind of stuff, all of this oil and nasty stuff. You want to wipe all of that down really, really well. So I'm not going to bore you with watching me do all of that to this vehicle, but I'm going to go ahead and do it, and then you guys can kind of see what it looks like. And of course, you know, there's all kinds of little stains and random stuff like that. So I'll kind of show you what we're looking at after the fact when I get finished. I mean, we got dirty stains all over the door. I mean, there's dust on the dash. The cigarette area looks nasty. The climate control and radio is all dusty. We got a few little stains on the bottom of the glove box. There's stains on the door. Probably some more stains on these doors somewhere. Who knows? But we're going to clean all of that up. Another thing is, if you have an SUV or a van, this kind of area here as well is a good thing to clean out. Now, I wouldn't necessarily put a lot of effort into it, but definitely try to clean that up some. There will also be some things you may want to do depending on what type of vehicle it is. This one is kind of what some would refer to as a bucket, kind of not in the greatest shape, not going to sell for a whole lot of money. So I'm kind of just doing the minimum preparation for sale on this vehicle. Now, if you have a nicer vehicle and it's going to be selling for a bunch of money, then you might want to take a few extra steps, and I'll try to discuss those towards the end. But this is kind of just the bare minimum as far as just cleaning it up, because sure, this isn't going to sell for a lot of money, but at the same time it'll probably sell for even less if it's dirty and disgusting. So I'm going to go ahead and get started cleaning this up. Alright, so far we've wiped down the entire rear lift gate. We've also wiped down this section here, the section that goes across here, because I used to put my hand on that a lot when I would grab tools, as well as this section here and this part. Looks a lot better already back here. Alright, here we are. We got some of this panel wiped down. That Windex made the jack door or whatever you call it look way better. And then down here I had a major stain just like that, and I used some brake cleaner on it. And obviously, depending on what type of vehicle you got, you may not necessarily want to do this to it depending on the materials, but this vehicle was only really used as a work van, and so I am perfectly okay with doing that in here. And as you can see, it's making it look significantly better, so definitely worth it in the long run. It's not really going to damage anything, so just wanted to show you that little trick. Just make sure it's well ventilated where you're doing that. Man, guys, that brake cleaner really put in work on this side. Got all the stains out. We got all of that grease from my grease gun that was leaking. And then this cup holder was about as black as those stains on there from whatever was rubbing against it, grease and whatnot, dirty hands, all that. So that looks significantly better. Now I'm going to move on to the other side. You can kind of see the after of cleaning all this out a bit. Not perfect, you know, I missed a little bit, I'll get that, but then you look over here and this is kind of what it was looking like. Makes a huge difference when you take care of that kind of stuff, guys. People aren't going to try to talk you down as much when they get there to look at the vehicle. And then here's the whole thing done. Once again, we're not going for showroom perfect. We're just going for a lot better than it was. Trying to maximize every dollar you can out of the asset that you have that you're going to be selling. All right, so I would say that we are pretty much done with the rear. I got it about as reasonably clean as I could. Now remember, guys, I'm going to film over kind of all the areas that I wiped down. Just throwing that out there real quick. But remember, my van is probably going to be significantly more disgusting than your vehicle is. So if you still see some stains on my vehicle and you're like, oh, why didn't you wipe that off? Whatever, just know that everything I'm putting my camera on has been cleaned to the best of my ability, especially considering the price range that this car will be going for. We've also got the door jambs over here on this side all cleaned up pretty decently. Probably could have gone a little deeper in there, but I wiped all of this down. I'll probably get that out of there. We wiped down the door sill. Got everything over here. Got the cup holder cleaned out. I've got the middle two seats wiped down pretty well. Wiped down that plastic in between there. Of course, we got it all vacuumed. I got this area on both sides. That door button there got real nasty after me opening and closing these all the time. Then I've also wiped down both door panels reasonably well back here. You can kind of see that. And then I even wiped out that area of the door jamb as well. So now we'll move on and check this side. Kind of wiped down the door sill. We got all of this cleaned. These cup holders were disgusting as well, so just keep that in mind if you're judging the quality of my cleaning job. We got the seat. We got everything around the seat, all the plastics connected to it, inside and out. Both of these, we got all of that. I haven't wiped down the back of the console or anything yet, but we got this as well. And then I have not done this door jamb, so you can kind of see the comparison between dirty and clean. Makes quite a bit of a difference to your potential buyer. Now, they're not going to necessarily be looking for this kind of stuff, but it's going to be very difficult for them not to see it. But if that's all cleaned out, then it's just going to give your buyer more peace of mind that you've got a quality vehicle for sale. So I'm going to finish up a couple things over here. We got to do this door jamb, and then I might wipe down the back of the console there. And then I still need to pull the seats back up so we can wipe those seats down. They should be pretty clean. They've been stowed away for a long time, but I'm going to give those a good once over as well. Another thing I want to point out is if you have anything like this, you can hit that with just a little spritz of paint and it'll make it look so much better. It'll slightly slow the rust down, and it'll just make your vehicle look that much more presentable for the next person. I happen to have the exact white that this van is, so I'm going to touch it up with a little bit of that. Yes, I know this is not the proper way to do this, but the car is going for a very low amount of money compared to many other vehicles, and this will help out some for sure. And that's what it looks like now. Much better than it looked before. Obviously it's not perfect, and yes, I know that's not the correct way to fix stuff like this. However, we're just trying to make it look a bit more clean and presentable for the next buyer. I'm not going to hide the fact that it has rust. I am going to disclose that. They're obviously going to know that it has rust anyway if they look at it enough, you know what I mean? but I think that looks pretty good. Now, do I think that you should go out and buy some paint to do stuff like this? Maybe, maybe not. It kind of just depends on what your vehicle calls for. You know, some of you may spend more money than me, some of you may spend less. I just happen to have some of that paint laying around from just owning this vehicle for 5 years. So to me, it was worth doing that. So, you know, I also have a lot of these cleaning products downstairs in my garage that I'm using. So I'm spending basically zero money to clean this up and prepare it for sale, other than the eventual car wash that we will be doing. So I do want to throw that out there. Spend whatever you feel comfortable that will be worth it. You know what I'm saying? The idea behind this is to get as much as possible for your used vehicle. So keep that in mind moving forward. Now we got the console all cleaned out. Got my auxiliary cord, because this one takes a special type with the red and white, or the red and yellow. I'm not sure which one, but you have to have, yeah, red and white to auxiliary. Then we got the 2 headphones and the DVD remote for the DVD that doesn't work, but at least we're providing that for them. We kind of got all of that wiped out for the most part. Probably need to get that little wet spot there, but otherwise you can set this down in place and it should be good to go. Alright, we pretty much got the entire third and second or middle row done. There's a couple spots in this particular row that I might hit with a little bit of carpet shampoo. One, because it doesn't hurt to do that. I don't really think it's worth it on this vehicle, but just for the sake of the video, I want to show you guys some other stuff that it's probably a good idea to do when you're preparing your vehicle for sale. So stay tuned for that. And we also went ahead and hit that little rust spot there on the back with some paint as well, just to make it look a little bit better. It's kind of one of those things where if you back up far enough, you can't even notice it. That's kind of what we're going for when we're doing that. We're not trying to make it look like it doesn't have rust and be unethical and not disclose things like that, but we're just trying to make it look less like shit, pretty much. So I'm gonna hit this as well, and that's that one all finished up. All right, here we are the next day. We got the passenger side door jamb pretty well cleaned out. I cleaned this out too on the other side, but just not quite as good on this side. It's just got a bunch of stuff that's pretty stuck on there, and I don't really want to mess with all that too much more. We're not really going for a full-blown detail, but I kind of got carried away in some spots. But the more you're willing to do, the more clean it'll be. I even went ahead and got the door itself. Of course, I got the back side as well, and as much of the top as I could reasonably reach. And I'm going to probably do the same thing to the other door. Okay, so at this point, we pretty much have all 3 rows cleaned up. We've wiped down both of these side panels. We've wiped down the rear door. We vacuumed behind the 3rd row seat. We vacuumed in front of the 3rd row seat. We wiped the seat itself down. We've also wiped down this plastic area where the 3rd row kind of blends in with the 2nd row. Same over there. We've also wiped down both 2nd row seats. We've removed all of our belongings from the entire vehicle. We've wiped down all of the door jambs all around, all the door sills. We wiped off the back of the front seats. We got the front door panels done, all the painted surfaces done, door jambs and door sills clean. I do still need to wipe this seat down. The dash has been wiped off. We got the ashtray area all clean. Got all the dust off of the center stack. The center console is looking much cleaner. So we also went ahead and wiped off the steering wheel and the area behind it on the gauges. I'm just kind of looking over to see little spots that I may have missed, like that, dirty fingers and whatnot. But for the most part, we pretty much have this whole thing cleaned up on the inside. I am still going to show you guys the carpet shampoo. I'm not going to go ahead and do the whole vehicle because there's some stains that I just know aren't going to come out. But if your vehicle calls for that, then I would strongly recommend doing that, because a can of the carpet shampoo is only about $5 or so, and it makes a huge difference if you're able to get those stains up. But we got no more dust in a lot of these areas. Everything's been wiped down, looking very, very clean compared to what it looked like before. So I'm going to get those couple areas on the steering wheel that I missed on the back side, as well as the passenger seat, and then we'll move on to the next step. Another thing I've gone ahead and done, which I strongly recommend that you do as well, is go inside your engine bay and wipe down everything that you can get to fairly easily, especially the black plastic and the painted surfaces. You want to get as much of that as you can to make it look good. Another thing I would recommend that you do while you're in here, because the potential buyer is likely going to check these things, is make sure that all of your fluids are topped off to the full level, especially the engine oil. Alright, so now that that's done, we can come in here at these stains and spray some carpet shampoo pretty thoroughly over the stained areas. And then you'll want to let that sit for a minute. I'm using this Tough stuff. Pretty good stuff. I've had pretty good luck with it. And it's actually only about $5 a can, roughly. So once you let that soak in for a little bit, you want to take a brush and come down in here and just kind of scrub that carpet shampoo real good. Sorry for the shaky camera. Let's go ahead and scrub it on out. Then you can take a rag and wipe it up, and I'll show you what that looks like. And that's kind of the finished product after wiping it off with a dry rag. I'm not going to do my entire vehicle with that, but if you see any stains in your vehicle that you feel like would help it sell by removing them, it's relatively easy to do. I might hit a couple more spots in a couple places, but ultimately this is a cheap vehicle. It was used as a work van. It's never going to be perfect, so I'm pretty close to done with the interior, I think. Another thing carpet shampoo will do, at least if you do it on the entire vehicle, is it'll remove a lot of nasty smells from the vehicle, and it will make it smell a lot better. So definitely a good idea if you have a stinky car. Another thing you can do, if you want to get fancy with it, is take your brush and go one way, move it over and overlap a little, go back the other way, and kind of brush the carpet in alternate directions. This is kind of a poor example of it, but it'll kind of give the vehicle that fresh vacuumed look. And now that we got everything pretty well cleaned up on the interior and the engine bay, let's go to the car wash. So here we are inside the Tidal Wave Auto Spa. Getting the car washed up here. This is the fun and the easy part. We did all that hard work on the interior, manual labor, and now you can just sit back in the AC, if you have it anyway. I unfortunately do not, but you can sit back and let a machine do the rest of the job for you. And it even has cool colors sometimes. Pretty cool, I must say. Say hi, guys. And we're finally out. Time to do some final touch-ups. Well, I'd say after a car wash, it turned out fairly well. It looks a whole lot better than it did the first time, or before the car wash, I guess. The only other thing I would recommend, which I'm going to kind of do sort of a half-ass version of, is make sure that you wipe your wheels down really good, because the car wash doesn't always do a good job of that. But otherwise, I think we're pretty dang close to done. All right, so a few closing statements. When you're at this point, you are ready to go ahead and take your photos. You want to take some good pictures of the car. You want to get all four corners. You want to get every angle of the interior. You want to get more than 1 or 2 shots of the interior. That's where the driver spends the majority of the time, is in the interior. Many people I've seen post a vehicle for sale, they don't even bother to take a picture of the interior. So I'll go ahead and post a few example photos that I've taken of the vehicle after the car wash, just so you can get an idea of kind of the bare minimum photos that you want to take. I'll post, 4 or 5 of them here after this clip. Also, I want to go ahead and throw out there that this is for those who basically have a mechanically sound vehicle. I mean, my vehicle's not perfect, but this isn't going to get your vehicle to sell if you have a bad engine or something like that. Obviously, that's not going to fix the major problem. However, if your vehicle runs and drives, I believe what I just showed you is kind of the bare minimum that you should do in order to post it for sale. I've seen so many people post vehicles for sale, not vacuumed, no pictures of the interior. Sometimes they don't even wash the damn thing, and they expect to get top dollar for it. I just don't understand that. It's mind-boggling to me. But if you follow this video and clean your vehicle in a similar manner to what I just did to mine, then your asking price is probably pretty close to what you're going to get. But if you put it up for a certain price and then you don't clean it, you don't do nothing at all to it, they're going to talk you down at least $500. I'm telling you, doing the work that we just did in this video is going to make sure that you probably get at least $300 to $500 more for your vehicle when you post it for sale. So here are some of those photos. You can check those out, just to give yourself an example or an idea of how to take the photos for yourself. Going to be the end of the video for today, guys. Hope you all enjoyed. I know that some of this to some of you might be extremely basic stuff, but some of you it might have actually taught you something, or at least opened your eyes to the fact that when you don't clean out your car and it looks like crap when you post it for sale, people do notice. So that's not something that you should avoid doing. Anyway, if you like the video, hit that thumbs up button. If you have any comments or something you'd like to add that's a good idea to do to your vehicle before selling, go ahead and put that in the comments below. Otherwise, we're trying to hit 3,000 subs by the end of 2024. If you could help me out with that, you'd be super awesome. Otherwise, please stay tuned for many more awesome videos on the Andy's Auto YouTube channel. This is Andy, signing off.
Subscribe.